how should we address beauty with our daughters? I'm going to read your comment that I received from one of the from the webinar I did, and really break down so that we can really kind of go a deeper understanding in how to be strategic about helping our daughters understand what makes a woman beautiful. So I'm just going to read it. First of all, thank you for this wonderful question, because I think questions actually lead to great conversation. Thank you, January. Love the webinar and already have so many ideas following to start having intentional conversation with my 3 daughters. And also 4th one coming away. I need to figure this out now. And also with a discipleship group of 10-year-old girls that I'm leading. How amazing is that? So if you weren't at the webinar last night, I think that you owe it to your daughters to just watch, to just really get an understanding of the crisis that they're going through. I think that's so important, that mothers need to know the lay of the land and what we're up against. Okay, so here's a question. A question that I didn't think to ask last night. Our daughters, 6, 4, and 2, are always asking if they look pretty or beautiful, especially as they choose what they wear and dress up all the time. I will give them a new definition of beauty. So last time we talked about actually redefining what a beautiful woman is. So it doesn't look like outfit, it doesn't look physical, but rather integrated, and how important it is for us to actually rewire the definition of a beautiful woman. And if you look at the webinar, I actually define what a beautiful woman is, and you can literally re-script and actually replay to your daughter, so that in your home, there's a exact definition of what a beautiful woman is. So you can watch the webinar. So here's the thing, is that we need to be strategic as mothers of how we use the word beautiful, because of how it's being abused outside our homes, right? Because we want our daughters to believe they're beautiful. And so I use the word, I love the way you're presenting yourself, right? Because I see a presentation as an obligation and a responsibility to present our highest and best self, so that there's not an equation of all the physical stuff and beautiful woman. I don't mix it up. It's important, I think, because of how it's being abused, that it doesn't get mixed up. I think that now we can talk about presenting ourselves our highest and best self, apart from the fact that we are beautiful regardless of how we present our best self. But they are, and they should actually present their highest and best self. So even with my daughters who, they don't, Mom, why can't I just wear shorts and t-shirt? Because it's important for us to present our highest and best self. Right? It's not because it's what makes you beautiful. It's important for you as a way we honor other people. So that's how I would address it. They're always asking if they look pretty and beautiful. I think that going back to strategy, we should always tell them that they're beautiful, period. I actually don't use the word pretty, not opposed to it. I just think that I'm strategic about the connotation it has outside of my home. So I am intentional about what I use and don't use, based on the context of our culture. So apart from, what she's wearing or what she's doing, I just want to be able to look her in the eye and say, you are so beautiful. Everything about you is just beautiful. And, she knows it's not what she wears. It's not how she is beautiful. And so you isolate the admiration as an actual strategy to give them evidence that they are beautiful, compounding with a definition of how women ought to define beauty. That's strategy. And that's what I mean when we have in the women's school strategist. Strategy is key in a world that's shifted, which is what I really talk about in the webinar. So that's strategy number 1. I will give them the new definition of beauty, right? Because as we talked about, but they still need to hear that mom and dad enjoy and love them the way they are presenting themselves. Absolutely. You know what? This is why I say you presenting yourself actually is a form of you contributing to other people around you. That's it. And you know what? I love the fact that you're honoring other people by the way you're showing up. I know you don't want to wear that dress on Sunday, but you're doing something you don't want to do to honor other people as a form of contribution. If we strategically use the word contribution and giving of our best self in our home and create a language, a culture where the purpose is contribution, then we become strategic about every part of our life that gives way an opportunity to be able to become a gift to the world. So it's not, I love you less, I think you're pretty. It's that this is a form of contribution. Now, when I ask Mom, how do I look? I'm like, how do you think you look? Do you feel good about what you're wearing? It's not I tell them, it's like, Pia, Ina, well, I love, I love the way you're presenting yourself, but do you feel comfortable in the way you're presenting yourself? And sometimes it looks out like, Mom, I don't like what I'm wearing. Yeah, but it's presentable and we're going to church and, you can pick whatever you want to pick, but it just needs to be church worthy, right? Mom, what do you think about what I'm wearing? I'm like, do you feel comfortable what you're wearing? Do you love what you're wearing? Because I think I could like it, but you actually have to, be comfortable about what you're wearing and how you're presenting yourself. So I said, Pia, go look in the mirror and see how you look. Part of it is also teaching them how to actually study how they're showing up. They're physically, and that it's compounding. It's their mind, their emotions, their body, and it's all part of the integrated woman, which we talked about in the webinar. So back to strategy, go look in the mirror, sweetie. Tell me how you feel. And really, if you feel that, you're presenting your highest and best self, and that you're taking care of yourself and this is how you want to show up, sure. And I do tell them, I said, just remember that your clothing represents you. So make sure that this clothing is how you want to represent yourself, right? And sometimes you have to let them fall and make bad choices. It's better at 4, at 6, at 7 than at 13. The sooner we actually teach them this, the better. Now, I've got a daughter who's like 4 who wants to kind of wear things that are a little shorter. And so we're constantly having a conversation about presenting our highest and best self and making sure that we, present ourselves properly. There is a proper response to the way we present ourselves in certain occasions. And that's just a skill that they need to learn. That's a compounding, consistent culture that we're trying to build. And it's a work in progress, right? So that's how I would present it. Is it reframing the words? Absolutely. Everything is about reframing the words strategically. We need to find words that are framed. So in the masterclass, I reframe a lot of the scripts that you can pretty much use with your daughters. We need to live in scripts. We need to live in strategy. Reframing words and ideas so that they know without a doubt their worth comes from everywhere than their physical appearance. Yes. So you are beautiful and important apart from anything that you do. That your A, your B, your C, whatever grade, that how you perform, I love you anyway. Like my husband, when Jack Ryan goes into the golf course or Bo and he makes a bad shot, it's like, I love you anyway, son. Just a game. I love you anyway. So there's never that doubt that they get more attention or loved any less or more based on their performance, based on their production, based on their popularity, based on all those poisonous P that I talked about in the webinar. Ladies, study that chart, right? Also, should always stop using the word beautiful to describe anything visual and physical. Yeah, I think so. I think that we abuse words and so they get desensitized. I think that's a great strategy to say, well, if something's really beautiful, make sure that you're accurately describing beautiful. So that's, I think true for our home. And I think there's beautiful experiences, there's beautiful nature, there's beautiful people. And so I ask them, I say, make sure that that word is accurately describing what you're trying to say so that you use it in context of what we're trying to explain right now. So you really, as a mom, need to help them with language, with words. This is why one of the key things that I talked about last night, I just skimmed the surface, is really choosing words and defining words, because they could have a false definition and carry a lifetime of self-doubt because of just a false definition, but we never clarified, but the world gave them, such as what a beautiful woman should look like. So in the webinar, I talked about the shift of the language, but really, ladies, the masterclass that we have is for you, but it's really for you to be able to give to your daughters. And that's why I am committed. I am wholeheartedly dedicated to changing the crisis that women are facing today of feeling as though their worth is always getting pummeled, it's always at risk, and it's always, I would say, inconsistent. This is why mothers, after they have a baby, the postpartum body makes them feel like they're not good enough. Well, if our body becomes what makes us worthy and we're 30, 40, 60 pounds bigger, we start to doubt our worthiness. It is so much easier for us to actually have this conversation when they're 2, 4, 6, because what's going to happen is that if we don't attack it now, this is exactly why we have the eating disorder and the crisis that right now we are currently having with young women. And not just young women, ladies. This is women whatever age. It's a crisis now. And I think it's because we need to have new strategy in a world that's massively shifted. And it's important that we actually talk about this shift very universally, very vocally, so that mothers understand that, oh, it's not just me. I'm not alone in the struggle, and nothing is wrong with me. I just wasn't prepared enough. Therefore, I am going to do everything that I can to prepare my daughter to face a world that's massively different. And this isn't a blame and shame for parents that couldn't. It's just, it's almost like a carpet just got swept under us. But it's not our fault, but it is our responsibility. So if you haven't seen the webinar last night, please watch it. You owe it to your daughters. We need to be on a mission together, collaboratively, as mothers, as women, so that at the end of the day, it's not what I tell my daughters that matter. It's how I show up for her. It's not what I tell her what to do. It's what she sees me do. And so if she sees me own my worthiness and understand what it's like to actually take care of the woman that God, designed in me and who I am trying and choosing to become, then that's what we model for them. We cannot give what we do not have. And unfortunately, that's a painful reality. But fortunately, we can look into neuroscience. We can actually change. We can actually hope by creating and redesigning how we want to show up. And it's never too late, not even for grown adults. We have mothers and daughters taking this masterclass together that are 60s and 40s and 50s. It's beautiful when we can now have a collective humility to actually see how we can show up for our daughters and never give up the possibility of always making it better, always elevating the way we show up. So January Donovan here with Women's School. Make sure you check out the webinar today so that you can also avail for the 24 hours, I believe, for the Shaping Your Child's Success, and use that also in your toolbox, right? That's what we talked about in the webinar. You need toolbox so that you will have those tools ready, an arsenal for you on how to raise children today that are not going to get pummeled by a world full of critics and world full of opportunities really belittling our worthiness, which is objective, but it's subjectively revealed. And that's why we need to know how to reveal it to our daughters so that they don't get pummeled.